Hey everyone, and welcome back to Naturalis and Planet 2, where today we're going to be building a red-necked wallaby habitat. Now, before we get started, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and now let the chaos begin. Alright, so this build is a little bit different than all the other builds, because this one is unfinished in a way. Like, the wallaby habitat is finished, but because the wallaby habitat connects into a larger build, part of it is left unfinished because I still have to figure out how the rest of that build is going to look. So, yeah, the inspiration was basically just let's see what we can throw at this building and what sticks. In the end, it kind of looks like a wicker basket, which was... sometimes things just happen and then you sort of wake up and then realize, oh, I've built this. It actually kind of works. But anyway, so I first was just like, alright, I need something round because everything in Naturalis is going to be round. I really want to return to building the city because that's just going to be rectangles, which is going to be difficult for me now because everything so far has been round. So building a rectangular building, like actually for this build, for the rednecked wallaby habitat, I was like, all right, I need to build something rectangular. I need something with just straight walls because everything has been round. And then we're here back again with the round shapes and everything. Although at least I could have fun with, well, not really fun because you see all of the planks that I'm placing now? Yeah, I had to rotate all layers, I think 28 of those, separately. Usually that's fine, but after like the fourth row, you kind of lose all sense of self and you just keep rotating. You just keep spinning. Just keep spinning until you lose your mind. And then also because it's like, it's on a slope, so like every circle of these wooden planks is like different in width. It also means that at the end, it doesn't really line up. So there I just had to kind of finagle my way around of just like, all right, this looks like it's, you know, aligns properly. But I also wanted the wooden planks to stick out a bit, and that, yeah, it was a nightmare. So actually this video is also going to be slightly out of order because halfway through building the building, my brain was just like, I can't take this anymore. I'm going to build the habitat. So like, after 2/3 of this video, we will cycle back, and if you then look in the background, this building will be unfinished, even though in the footage before that, the building will be finished, because this is one of the few times where I was just like, yeah, I need to build something else right now, because it's just been rotating things in circles forever. Usually that goes actually pretty quick, it's just like this was just so tedious. But anyways, I also have some other things I want to talk about. Shocker, Poison can't keep his mind straight on just the builds. But I want to talk about something important. Planet Coaster 2 and Mythos, because yes, I've kind of settled on the name of Mythos. I usually don't reveal names until I'm like 99% sure that we're going with that name. Now, somebody did mention that maybe I should change the name to Terra Mythica because they thought, oh, with Mythos it's going to, at least in their minds, very heavily connect to Greek mythology. And like, the comment is valid, but I also think that like there's never going to be a name that's 100% liked. Like, there's always going to be something that's slightly off about it, even for me, so there's that. And also they said, oh yeah, Mythos, to them it connects more heavily to Greek mythology, and especially with the idea of like, I want to do multiple different mythologies and legends and such, because I also want to build Camelot. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, we have Olympus, we have Valhalla, we have, I think I want to do Egyptian, but I'm not sure. It might also be like Arabian with like a 1001 Nights, like maybe that, like Sinbad and everything. I don't know, but then it's like, oh yeah, all of these like mythologies, and then there's Camelot. Because I mean, it makes sense to have just like a medieval area, and it would also just be fun. But anyway, back to like the Terra Mythological. I immediately just forgot the name, and I'm just horrible with names, because once during a family event, I actually forgot the name of my cousin, who I was talking to. I was just like, oh, thank God I don't have to say your name, because I, for some reason, and that's always just the thing, as soon as you notice like, oh, shit, I forgot your name, it just becomes harder and harder to remember. As soon as you're out, you're like, let's say the family event is over, it's just like, oh yeah, why the fuck did I forget that name? It's like, it's a very simple name. But as soon as you just notice like, oh, I forgot a name, it's just gone. Good luck with trying to find it while you're trying to find it. So if I forget a name, that's just the thing. But yeah, with Terra, because Terra is Latin, to me it immediately was like, oh yeah, that ties really into Roman mythology. Now, side note on Roman mythology, if you think it's the complete same as Greek mythology, you're not wrong, you're also not right. Because Roman mythology, I think a lot of the gods are still similar. It's just like the amount of regard or influence they had varies. It's between Greek mythology and Roman mythology, that like some gods that were kind of more like household gods in the Greek world became like really stable, like national gods in Roman mythology. There's some extra gods and some neo gods, and there's a lot of other things. But yeah, the main staples are like, I mean, Hera, Jupiter, Zeus, like the main gods are the same. But anyways, back to the actual topic. So that's again to the point of like, no name is going to be ever 100% correct or 100% fitting or 100% liked, because a name that they thought was like really fitting, to me immediately was just like, yeah, that's Roman mythology. So I'm probably going to stick with mythos, because it has a couple of different reasons. First, it's a short name, and Naturalis is it's, I think, just bounding on the edge of what I would consider like a nice short name. If Naturalis, like if the name was any longer, I would just be like, nope. But like Mythos, I still have no idea where Eve came from. Literally no idea. It's like a nice short name for a zoo. Also, for those who don't know, Eve Zoo was basically the precursor to Naturalis, and again, I have no idea where the name came from, because I'm not that religious. But of course, when it comes to like Eve, I immediately think of like, Eve from biblical times. And it probably didn't come from that, but then I also don't dare to question 3 a.m. poison. Because 3 a.m. poison, I good luck. But anyways, very quick to what we're building. So I had to build a wall, because this is on the edge of Naturalis. You can literally see the parking lot. Yes, there's spikes on the walls, because there is like probably expensive equipment in a zoo. You don't want people to get in here. But also, hey, if you like, I've already made the story of like there's a murderous psychopath dressed in a red panda mascot costume in Naturalis. This just helps with the horror vibes. Like, you're not able to escape Naturalis by climbing the wall, because the mascot in true horror fashion will probably sneak up on you while you're climbing over the spikes and will just impale you. So that's fun. You thought like, oh yeah, this is Naturalis, this is planned soon, this is very family friendly. No, it's canonical that Naturalis has a murderous psychopath. I've watched way too many Five Nights at Freddy's videos. I've never played any of the games because I'm a scaredy cat who doesn't do well with jump scares. But I will inflict it upon anything that I build. What murderous psychopath mascot will we put in Mythos? Because, King Coaster is definitely a psychopath. Just look at those legs. Here's the thing, just on a side note, which is like the third side note, or like maybe the 100th side note in this video. I never liked those mascot costumes. Like Mickey Mouse? Nope. No. Nope. It's just the dead eyes for me. It's just like, oh yeah, this looks human, but there's like no emotion in the eyes. There's actually like a name for that, where something is so close to being human but just isn't it, which then means that it's terrifying. There's a word for it, but just the mascot costumes, nope. So Five Nights at Freddy's is just immediately just a big nope for me. But anyway, so back to Mythos. So Mythos, nice short name, have no idea where Eve Zoo came from, but we don't question 3am Poison because he does come out with masterpieces sometimes. Also destroys my sleep schedule, but that has never been a very good point of me. So like, nice short name. It does have like a nice tie to what it's all about, like Naturalis, nature. Again, why Eve Zoo? I don't know. Maybe it was from like the Bible, but then I'm not really religious, so maybe it's like, oh yeah, we're paradise, but I have literally no idea. But the reason of like, oh yeah, short names to go back again, like, there's still to this day people who are just like, how the fuck do you pronounce Kian al-Bashar? And so after that, I was just like, yeah, we're going to have short names that are like easy to pronounce. And then Mythos, of course, has like a nice tie because it's like about mythology and legends and such, because we have to somehow scramble to get Camelot in there. Because I want to build Camelot. I want to build castles. Like, here's the fun thing when it came to Planet Coaster 2. I was just like, yeah, I don't want to do Disney. You know what the weenie of Mythos is going to be? A castle. Why? Because it works really well. Like, I don't want to do Disney, but what Disney has done does work well. It's like a nice orientation point, like the castle, where you can like, I don't know if you can see it from everywhere in the park, but when you see it, you know, like, oh, I'm looking at it from this direction, which means that I'm there. A lot of things are actually kind of built that way, where it's like you want to have like orientation points so that you know where you are by like a significant building or something. Or at least that's how we approach it in urban design, where it's like, yeah, you want to have certain not vantage points, orientation points, because that makes a big city a little bit more comprehensible and makes it easier to navigate. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to have a castle. Anyways, I should again go back to like Naturalis and Mythos and like the naming. So yeah, I think it's pretty much just two names. There were two reasons. Just like, it's a short name, it's easy to decipher what like the ties are, what it stands for. And I also just really like the name, which, of course, here's the thing. I also have to be able to say it for probably 50 times without getting bored of it. And Mythos is like nice along that way of like, yeah, it's short, it's interesting, at least to me it's interesting, and I probably won't get sick of it, of saying it 500 times. As with Kian al-Bashar, where I constantly have to remind myself, oh yeah, you need to roll the last R. I don't know why I decided to do that, because I don't think rolled R's are like a thing with Arabian languages. But yeah, I was just like, yeah, I want to just have fun with that name, and then it was just like, yeah, almost no one can pronounce this poison. Anyways, back to the actual builds. Well, actually not. Let's not. Let's just embrace the chaos. So, again, back to mythos. So, as I always said, I want to have like a Camelot area, or like an Arthurian area, a Greek area, a Norse area. I was kind of debating between Chinese or Japanese, because I don't want to do both, because the styles are similar enough that they will get mixed up, and I am no expert on Japanese or Chinese architecture, so I will admit I will mess them up and will unsubconsciously maybe find some inspiration that's actually Chinese and then put it in the Japanese area. So by just saying, alright, we're just going to do either Japanese or Chinese, I somewhat minimalize that possibility. And also because I don't want to do too many areas. Like, I want to do like 5, maybe 6 areas. And that's it. I don't want to build a huge thing. Like, I would prefer for it to be like at max a 2-year project. And that's also like a thing of like, I don't want to do like another project. If like when it comes to like, oh yeah, a whole Chinese park or a whole Japanese park or like a whole Norse park, because Naturalis and Mythos are going to most likely sort of be next to each other. Me juggling 2 projects has already been difficult in the past, so juggling 3 projects, because we know by this point, or you should know by this point, that my brain is like a very chipper squirrel. I mean, that's why the entire channel is a squirrel. But yeah, I would just start building on 3 projects at once and then lose interest in at least 2 of them. So to make sure that that doesn't happen, I just want to have 2 projects. Naturalis and Mythos. No other projects besides that, because I know that my squirrely ass will just completely ignore 2 of them. Because I will get obsessed with 1 of them. Anyway, so that's why there's not going to be any other projects besides Mythos. Maybe if there's like, I get invited to build on somebody else's project, I will be happy with that, but then it's like, that's a one-off thing. I won't be able to obsess about it because it's like, it's a one-off thing. But anyway, so no other projects. And also, here's the thing with like, because I think it's, as far as I checked, everybody seems to have voted for like, oh yeah, Japanese area, which I'm completely fine with. I'm already thinking of a coaster inspired by Amaterasu. Because, yeah, my knowledge about most mythologies starts with Smite, the video game MOBA. And we're going to hark back to Smite in a little bit, but the fun thing is, I have no idea what to name the Japanese area, because, like, oh yeah, Arthurian, that's like, oh yeah, that's going to be named Camelot or Avalon, very easy. Greek area, very easy as well. It's either Olympus or Elysium. Very easy names for the areas. Norse, Valhalla. What else? But when it comes to Japanese, I was just like, what am I going to name it? The only thing that's coming to my mind is Rising Sun. But that's, in a way, it's descriptive, because I think Japan has a lot of times being referred to as like the land of the rising sun, or I'm a total idiot, just know that, so don't take any of this really seriously. But I'm now questioning, just because I said it, of like, was it Japan or was it China? Again, this is another reason why I shouldn't be allowed to build both of those areas at the same time because I will start questioning everything. But it's like, oh yeah, that's like, yeah, but then also I just want like a name that's coming from the mythology or like the legends itself. So when it came to like a Chinese area, I was like, oh yeah, the Jade Palace or something, because Jade Emperor. Again, like all of my mythology knowledge usually starts with Smite. Except for Greek mythology, but that's because I'm a Greek mythology nerd. Yeah, I say it, I'm a nerd. I mean, I've built in Naturalis for a year and a half now. I don't think anyone will disagree with me by me saying I'm a nerd. Anyways, I even start to question like, oh yeah, Jade Emperor, that's Chinese, right? This is like because I am not that knowledgeable about it, I will start questioning everything, and I don't want to insult anyone by getting things wrong. Especially when it comes to like such an important thing as like a land's mythology and their legends and such. Like, and of course there's going to be things that are a little bit commercialized, because it's going to be like a sort of realistic theme park, so some things are going to be a little bit on the nose. But I still want to get things right. I'm also thinking, how far can I get with realistic castles and like historically accurate castles while still making it a realistic theme park? So yeah, that's going to be an issue because, I mean, the Disney castle is not historically accurate. It's a palace. Like, the castle that it was inspired by is more a palace than an actual castle. I think it was, like, built in, like, at the time when, like, the style of, like, the old medieval castles, like that Gothic style, was, like, really in trend. So yeah, that's also a thing with history. Trends also come and go there when it comes to architecture and such. It's not just now that's like fast fashion and such. Trends were there back then as well. It's just that trends usually took 10 years and not 10 days. Which is a little bit more of a problem. Anyways, so yeah. What was I talking about? Like, this usually happens during all of the voiceovers. It's just like, oh yeah, halfway through, Poison just loses all train of thought and has no idea what he talked about before. But, oh yeah, this is part. We already passed the point where I built not continuously or not synchronous. I don't know what the word for it is. Basically, where I built out of order, or where you're seeing it out of order. Because this is actually built in order, but like all of the fencing, the edges of the habitat when it comes to like the water and such was built when this building that we're building in right now was still unfinished. Because as I said, it was just too many circles for me at this point. So I'm very happy that like probably the next build is just going to be the city where I can build rectangles, which is going to be a challenge because I've not built rectangular buildings in a while now and my mind is just immediately, let's make it round. But because we're building on the city, I can't really do that because most buildings are rectangular. Just look at the house you're living in. Round walls are annoying in a house because most furniture and such is not built for it. So there's that reason why a lot of buildings are rectangular. It's also just easier for a lot of other things. And round buildings, there's a lot of wasted space. And usually you want you to be able to use the space as functionally as possible, or at least have the ability to do that. Now, just a side note, I had a blank wall here that was just leading into nothing, so I just put up some sails, colored them nicely, and it's just like, oh yeah, this is art. I also, of course, because we're building for the red-necked wallabies, I needed a kangaroo. Why? Because Australia. Kangaroos. So I used the mecaroo. Which at the start when we got the Australia pack, I was just like, where the fuck am I going to be able to use this? Also, why is this the only automaton, or like not automaton, like the, I think actually is automaton the right word? Basically, why is this the only statue that we have that has movement? Why? I'm wondering who built this statue robot thing. Like, who at Frontier or who at Planet Zoo just went nuts. Because I assure you, that kangaroo, that robot is not built by a sane person. I could have built it, which says a lot because I am not sane. So, who at Planet Zoo built that statue? And I do mean like the Frontier officers like Planet Zoo, like who at the dev team built that statue? And again, at the start when we got the Australia pack and I saw that statue, I was like, who is going to be able to use it? And now it's just being, all hail the mecaroo or mecaroo. Because I now love it. It weirdly grows on you like a fungus. You want to destroy it, but it just, nope, it just stays. And I was just like, yeah, you can't build a Australian area without including the mecaroo. If you don't include the mecaroo, that's sacrilegious. Like, that's blasphemy. I did say at the start of like, oh yeah, Eve Sue, I have no idea where the name comes from. I'm really not that religious of a person. I am religious when it comes to the mecaroo, alright? The mecaroo is... It's something. It's just... It's a nice size. It's fun that it moves around. It definitely will come alive at night and just maul you. So now we have, canonically, we have a murderous psychopath who, if you stay in Naturalis after dark, after closing time, they will murder you, but it will be a nice murder because he will clean up the body and the blood and will dump you in a dumpster like he is a clean psychopath. Never forget that. And then we have the mecaroo who will definitely come to life and just... Maybe he's like an ally of the mascot murder. Yeah. That would be fun. To see a red panda mascot just like drenched in blood riding the mecaroo. Yeah, that's how they get you. You're just like, oh, what's that around the corner? Why is it making so weird sounds? And it's just the mecaroo. And then you see the psychopath on his back and it's just like, no, actually it's a kangaroo. It's not on his back, it's in a pouch. That's a terrifying sight. Alright, back to the actual build. I actually was wrong. I actually put it weirdly in order, where now we're building the things that I built when I was sick of building circles. And funnily enough, I am building circles because I have a problem. It's a medically diagnosed problem. I just can't stop building circles. But yeah, so my idea of, oh yeah, I'm sick and tired of building this building. It's just constant circles because of that roof. Yeah, let's build more circles. But I think the difference is here there's like an immediate result. So like the dopamine things, it starts firing off like crazy. And here is just like, yeah, fences. Like I have a lot of this stuff done already. So I could just like... Here's the thing with every Planet Zoo project. And if you don't have this, you're a liar. But everybody has a garbage patch. Every Planet Zoo project has a garbage patch where you put fences or some other structures that you are thinking like, oh, I'm going to use these later. I have multiple of them. Like the right side of Naturalis is just a huge garbage patch. And then for the Australia area, it's actually to the left because I had some space left there. I actually had to move the entire garbage patch because I am planning to build something on the left side of Naturalis, which you will have seen in the after video screenshots of like the progress of Naturalis, because a huge area got added there. Because that's again 3 a.m. poison. You don't question 3 a.m. poison because he probably will just look at you and just go like, because 3 a.m. poison is not mentally, like, he's not mentally awake. He's just like, I just built this because I want to build it. No idea why I want to build it. It's just, it's in my brain. It doesn't want to leave. I can't sleep. I want to build. I really like how I just started to make all of the borders, like, along the water, just this. Because it makes sense, because these are all, like, artificial, like, water. Like, all of this is man-made. Like, there wasn't a river here that you just built over. Or, like, a canal or something like that. This was all just artificially made. So it makes sense that, like, all of the slopes, all of the waterfalls are also completely artificial to keep the water in the place that they want it to. And am I going to use this everywhere? Probably. Are the kangaroos somehow able to escape constantly? Probably. I had to put a lot of branches and rocks down. Like, this water side or waterfront is the most rock heavy that there is. Just because, I mean, it's wallabies that can jump, and the actual fence is not the size that it needs to be, or the height that it needs to be to stop them from jumping over. But the rocks are able to do the thing, so here is where realism goes a little bit out of the window, where I just placed a bunch of rocks. Actually, that's kind of realistic, because there are, of course, like the natural borders, or natural, I say they're usually like these rocks are probably made of concrete, or, well, they're not naturally here. They're either made out of concrete, or they are shipped over, which to me is just really funny that there's a shipping container somewhere with just a bunch of rocks. Like, that idea to me is just funny. You're just like, oh yeah, boss, what are we shipping in this container? Rocks. Why? Because somebody wants rocks. Couldn't they have made their own rocks? It's the Netherlands, we don't have rocks. All we have is some mud, some flat land, and some cows. Oh yeah, and tulips. Also, just a fun fact, I don't like cheese. I know I'm a bad Dutch person, but I only like cheese when it's with stuff. Like, if it's on pizza, or if it's in, like, melted on pasta. If you just give me bread with cheese, nope, thank you. I don't like cold cheese. If it's in, like, a toasty, right. I have no idea if toasty is actually... Yeah, actually, is it an English word as well, where it's just like, I completely forgotten. Like, I think there's a word for it in English, but it's basically just toasted bread with cheese, sometimes ham, preferably with ham, because meat. I love meat. I can never be a vegetarian. I love meat too much. If you're a vegetarian, good for you. You have a lot more self-control than me. Although I don't think I should be held as a standard, because that's basically holding a standard to an insane person. Have fun with that. Anyways, yeah, so back to the actual building as we're finishing things off. Weirdly out of place. But we're now that far into the voiceover that I'm just like, yeah, we're finishing the roof. I have no idea where editing Poison went, but he's definitely on vacation, because, like, why the fuck are we now finishing the roof? But it's too far into the voiceover. My voice is going to be completely fucked. Also, yeah, side note, after every voiceover, well, luckily this one is like 35, well, not 35, like 38, maybe at most 40 minutes. But after every voiceover, my voice is completely fucked because I'm like shouting and just being very energetic for like 50 minutes. And after that, I just don't speak. Funnily enough, I have no Like, I thought, oh yeah, I'm very socially inept. I will call a motherfucker. I dislike texting and messaging because I'm just like, yeah, I'm very short when it comes to messaging. So I will try and like compact all of the information as much as possible, which means that a lot of the information that I wanted to like, or like a lot of the stuff that I wanted to talk about doesn't get talked about. So I will just call you. Now, here's the thing. I will if it's like to a friend or something, I will message beforehand, asking, hey, do you have time for like a quick call or something? If it's like official business, like let's say for like the job interviews, I have a job now, but even for that one, you have to call people. I do that with no questions. Like, I know that's like a joke of like, my generation, that the biggest fear we have is a phone call, and that just makes me think, am I your biggest fear? Because I will just call you. I have no idea who you are, but I will just call you. I don't care. Maybe it's more so my attitude of I don't give a fuck. Maybe it's self-confidence. Maybe it's my attitude of I don't give a fuck. Maybe both. But I will just call you. And maybe it's like making these videos that has actually helped with that, because it's just like, yeah, here you go. Anyways, now we're actually on par for usual speed builds, because editing Poison was just basically drunk and put it all over the place, but I'm not going to change it now. But yeah, we're finishing up the habitat with a shit ton of grass. This was supposed to have a beach vibe, but I think I lost the beach vibe. But then rednecked wallabies, they're also like they live in woodlands, scrublands, and grasslands. They don't really live close to the beach. So it makes sense that like their habitat is a little bit more grassy, a little bit more like scrubs. And I actually like that I was able to put in quite a few trees in here. There's also like 10 wallabies in here. I really thought that this habitat would be way too small for them. It's not. Anyways, that's going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more. Also, there's channel memberships if you want to see videos a day early, if I am able to put them out a day early, and if you want emotes. Anyways, that's going to be it for today. Have a wonderful day, guys. Bye-bye.